Tired in what way, John?
I'm just tired of the mock. I mean, we're about to do one here, but it's so many mocks and just the suspense. I think, it's two really good quarterbacks at the top. I shouldn't be anxious about it, but I can't help but wonder every day. I'm like, who are the Carolina Panthers going to pick? What direction is Houston going to go at 12? And we're getting to that point. We had a full February of mock drafts. We have had a full March of mock drafts. And I'm getting ready to see the final products that Nick Casario and D'Amico Ryans are going to choose. So getting a little fatigued, but still loving draft season. How can you not?
No, man, no, absolutely, man. And welcome John back to the channel. It's been a minute, our
It
first
has.
mock draft of this, this draft season. I am excited. This all could have been avoided, man, if you just lost that game against the Colts, dude. I said it that once you lost control of the first round and pretty much how the draft, lost control of the draft, I am like you. Like, I just want to get it over with because I don't know what the hell is going to happen. There's still stuff that could happen.
Yeah.
And it's just, it came back to bite us in the ass.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'll say. If they end up with Bryce Young anyways, no harm, no foul. If
Yeah.
they end up with CJ Stroud, not my favorite quarterback, but really, I don't think it's going to end up being a hugely different outcome than if they got Young. Now, if they pass on the position altogether because they only liked one of the quarterbacks and they take Will Anderson at the top, that's when I might start freaking out, Ruben. That's when you could see me with some scathing article titles
Not
over on the
Tyree
Texans
Wilson.
wire. Yeah, definitely not Tyree Wilson. Not a non-top 5 player on my board, please.
Let's go ahead and start this draft, man. No matter who it is, dude, I'm just super excited. We see here, well, Bryce Young goes
Bryce
off
goes.
number one to the Carolina Panthers. Even though if you follow the money, Mr. CJ Stroud is opening up as the first quarterback off the board. You also heard Josh McCown say, whenever you live down here in Carolina, we'll get you a court. But like you, man, I don't mind CJ Stroud. I've just been on the Bryce Young trade, train. And real quick, right? The bottom line, as a passer, Stroud is nothing like the other two first round quarterbacks who came out of Ohio State before him. And that bodes well for his NFL prospects, dude. I think both these guys could be franchise quarterbacks, John. I just felt like it will kind of be a letdown because like even today I saw on ESPN was mocked Bryce Young to the Houston Texans if he does not be a Texan at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think the hype throughout the NFL season and for Texans fans was, oh my God, we're going to have the number one pick. We're going to get Bryce Young. Bryce Young is the former Heisman winner. I say his play is probably the most electric of this group. But CJ Stroud, great player, really
Mm,
showed off everything that he can do during that Georgia game. And I would say some similar traits in the Michigan game, even if it got a little out of hand. Like you said, not like Justin Fields, really a refined passer coming out, can hit every area of the field. Kind of your classic point guard quarterback there,
mm.
just with some questions of can he play extend at the next level and what's his comfort doing that. And I think that he's shown when under pressure that he has more in his bag than he was willing to go to. I'd ultimately be pretty comfortable with CJ Stroud, especially we're talking about Bobby Slowick's offense in the West
Mhm.
Coast. It's going to have a lot of short passing game, really will value decision making and accuracy. And I think those are probably Stroud's two best attributes.
No, for sure. I wouldn't mind CJ shot it out here, sling it in Houston. Here's where it gets interesting. We haven't really talked about what to do at pick 12. You see, JSN went 10 to the Eagles. I feel that at 12 you have to find a trade partner, man. I'm not really loving anyone at pick number 12. What do you think, John?
Let's check out the trades. I'm not afraid to pick here, but I'm with you that if there's a good trade down, this could be a spot.
So next is the Packers, right? Which is
Okay.
15. You drop down, three slots. Let's go ahead and take the 15. And what else? What do you think we should offer?
Well, how far do we want to go down? What's a realistic? Do we have to trade with Green Bay or can we
So it
trade with
goes
someone else?
Green Bay at 15, Detroit at 18, Tampa at 19.
Is
That's
it?
the people in the first round.
Hmm. I think trading with who's on the board. Let's see who's there. I'm just trying to think of realistic trades people could be coming up through. for on the day of?
Quentin Johnson,
Okay, we
Peter
got Peters.
Skorinski.
So, you know what I could see? What if we made a trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers, who desperately need offensive line help so that Kenny Pickett isn't getting killed? Maybe we try to pick up an additional day two pick.
Well, let's see if the Steelers are on there. The teams that are interested. Okay, let's go ahead and hit the Steelers. Give me 1 second. Yeah, okay. So if we didn't trade, who would you like there at 12? Wow,
If we
get this
didn't
going.
trade, I mean, I like a bunch of guys there. I saw Joey Porter Jr. Was the number two cornerback on my board. I love him as a player. I think, Steven Nelson's only under contract for one more season, and he's not good enough to stop you from taking the best player available. I like
Mhm.
him a lot. Someone that I think that the Houston Texans, my value is Lucas Van Ness coming out of Iowa, just as a down defensive lineman that D'Amico Ryans can really take and mold into an impact player. They have to get more bodies on the front seven, so that would kind of be potentially the best combination of talent fitting need. But let's make a trade here and see what we can get.
So I did the 17th pick and the 49th pick will be going to Houston for the 12. You think that's fair
I think
enough?
that's a very fair trade. Let's see.
Pittsburgh, they did decline it.
Wow.
Okay, so let's just go let's see, let's go to pick 80. This says this trade will likely be accepted.
I feel like we could get a little more than that, but that's what if we ask for 49 and like send back a future like send 73 or something. We just move up.
Let's go ahead and do that. It said this trade will likely be accepted. Let's offer it, John. The Houston Texans. Let's resume the draft.
Okay.
They traded back something that we expect Nick Casario to do. He did it last year in the first round. When we traded back to get Kenyon Green. Speaking of Kenyon Green, man, I am expecting a very solid year two from him. He's looking a little bit slimmer and thicker, in some of the posters that he had.
Yeah. I
Let's
think he's going to take a huge step forward this season, and he'll need to. I think the offensive line could reasonably be one of the best units on the team, and he's got to play a part in that.
Now at pick 17, let me give you some of the guys I like. Zay Flowers, wide receiver out of Boston College.
That's what I'm.
Miles Murphy. Nolan Smith. And then I think the Houston Texans also met with Brian Branch today, or was it yesterday?
I don't know which day. I do think they met with him though. That sounds right. So I'm looking at Zay Flowers here pretty closely. Um, Probably going to end up being the number two or number three receiver on my board. Him and Jordan Addison kind of duking it out right now behind Jackson Smith-Njigba. I think he could bring a field stretching element to this offense that we really need. We've got guys who are excellent at finding space, like
Mm-hmm.
John Mechie, like a Dalton Schultz. I think Nico Collins is going to serve as your X receiver. I think Zay could do a lot of good things in this offense, and I'd love to put him in there with CJ Stroud.
The bottom line about Zay Flowers, you want to add dynamism to your offense. Flowers is your guy. When he has the ball in his hands, John,
Oh,
he
can we
just
trade
doesn't
up?
let what happened?
Oh, I was gonna say we gotta be watching the board. I was gonna say, can we get our center here moving up with the extra picks that we got?
Right. Let's see. They all should be available there at center. Let's go ahead and look
Let's
at
see.
them. It is Luke Whippler, Joe
Okay.
Titman, John Michael Smith. Those to me out of the top three, I think, hold on, but like before we do that, like I said, I think Zay Flowers would make this offense special. Definitely add some excitement. When you go to center, I think John Michael Schmitz is the most pro ready of them all. Started the past 4 years at Minnesota, and is just built as just a true center.
Yeah, I think he's a guy that I would look at really closely here. Someone who could potentially get pushed up the board just by virtue of kind of being a weak center class. But I think schematically he would fit well with the zone run scheme. I think his overall player profile projects that he's going to be a successful center in the league. And like we were talking about with Kenyon Green, that offensive line being one of the strengths of the team kind of feels like it'll be a big factor in how successful Houston can be in 2023.
I like John Michael Schmitz. I wouldn't mind Luke Whippler either,
Ooh.
pairing him up with CJ Stroud. That would be absolutely, crazy. The familiarity is there. But like I said, I think John Michael Schmitz is the best out of the bunch. And how do you feel going quarterback, wide receiver, center? This is how I feel like it should play out for the Houston Texans.
Yeah. I mean, we just got a defensive coach, so I do want to give pieces to D'Amico Ryans in his first season. But I agree with you in that the offense, there's not a lot of talent there. There's not really an identity right now. So you're going to take the quarterback, and when you put a rookie quarterback into your system, you really want them to succeed. So I think, drafting someone who one with the center, you're going to protect the quarterback, and you're going to really finish that wall for Damian Pierce and Devin Singletary to run behind, and then you add a receiver who hypothetically makes the rest of your receivers better. I think that's a recipe for success. An offense that can keep D'Amico Ryan's defense off the field,
Mm.
score enough points to win games, and that although probably painful for a defensive coach in his first season, we can start to shift towards that side of the ball maybe with this pick.
No, absolutely. So I see two guys here that I like. I like Phoenix Anudake Uzama, the edge from Kansas State. Big dude. I think 8 sacks this season. Dane Henley, linebacker from Washington State. You know, D'Amico wants to get him a linebacker with these top picks. Let's see if there's anyone else out there
Yeah.
at the linebacker group. What
Let's
about you?
see.
Let me see.
Linebacker.
Dorian Williams, DeMarvin Overshown. I think we met with him today.
Mhm. See, for me, linebacker is a position that I feel like round three is kind of the sweet spot. Not a lot of
Mm,
great prospects. They're all a little developmental. And really, in that aspect, I trust D'Amico Ryans and this staff to get the best out of any guy who's going to need work. So at this point in the board, I like Felix as well. Just we need an edge rusher right now. Jerry Hughes is the best edge rusher on the team, maybe Jonathan
mhm.
Grenard. We need some youth at that position. We need more, definitely an injection of talent. And I think he would fit well as the 4-3 defensive end here.
Yeah, no, the bottom line on him is he has a really easy tape to project to the next level. He's one of the highest floor pass rushers in the class. His stats 8 sacks this year and
Wow.
13 the last one. I like it. The Houston Texans need some edge help very bad. I think they should also adjust it in free agency, right? Yannick Ngakoue still out there. Jadeveon Clowney still out there. I think the Houston Texans need to beef up this D line still.
Yeah. All right. And this is going to be our last pick because we
Hmm.
moved up like 20 spots for that. Probably could have angled for more, but
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. Um, because we're still going to come out of this with 5 starters, I think, right now, looking at the
absolutely.
board. All right. Anybody catching your eye from this group? I don't love it right now, just looking at it at face value.
I mean, the obvious of the group is Nathaniel Dell, right?
Yeah.
You might need to go multiple wide receivers in this draft. He is from Houston. You know, Frank Ross was working him out. Catching punts at the pro day, and I just love that. The Houston Texans really care about Houston players. They drafted a number of Texans ones last year, right? The main one being Jalen Petrie, being from the H as well.
Mhm.
I think it brings excitement. However, like I said, let's keep on looking. You don't sound very convinced.
I like Dell. I don't know if I like him at 65. And
Mhm.
I don't know if I'm as convinced if we spend the second first round pick on a receiver. So if we'd gone Joey Porter Jr., I think I'd be a
Mhm.
little more excited about a guy like Dell here because day two receiver, I'm one of a few more shots at the barrel. But I think Flowers is someone who's coming in, and now I'm saying, okay, he's going to play every snap. I think Nico Collins has shown enough that he's going to do it. And how often are you going 4 wide receivers when you factor in Robert Woods, Mechie? I do like DeMarvion Overshown a lot. I got to be honest. I like his athletic profile. He used to play defensive back. The way that he sees the game, I think he's someone that's going to have to beef up a little bit in the league.
Mhm.
But I think he's a real natural, and I think he's someone that I'd kind of want working with D'Amico. Do you have a favorite linebacker in this group?
I'm uh, I mean, out of the ones we see here, no, I really do like Jack Campbell out of Iowa and Drew
Okay.
Sanders out of Arkansas. Um, but with Demarvion, I mean, I wouldn't mind that at all. When D'Amico Ryans had his press conference, here with the Houston Texans, he mentioned that Fred Warner himself was a third round pick. And now he's considered one of the best linebackers in the NFL. I think D'Amico takes pride in that, and I think somewhere, someone like Demarion Overshown in the third round would definitely, be the type of linebacker that the Houston Texans want. But John, if I told you that the 5 picks of the Houston Texans, they go C.J. Stroud, Zay Flowers, that you traded back for, John Michael Schmitz, Felix Anudike Uzama, and DeMarvion Overshown as your first 5 picks in the 2023 NFL draft. How are you feeling?
Man, I love those first four picks. I'm looking at it. I feel like in real life, we get more value out of that trade from Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah.
But regardless, I think we did the right thing moving back. We come away with a huge need, potential wide receiver one, at least a wide receiver two, and someone who makes that group look better. Can't believe we're getting a D minus for the John Michael Schmitz pick. I think he slots in perfectly. I see 4 day 1 starters and a really traits filled linebacker for D'Amico Ryans to kind of work with alongside Christian Harris as two young guys. So you can kind of start to mold in that group.
No, absolutely. I think this would be a solid, kind of a realistic, one for the Houston Texans. It's just, here's where it gets to me, right? Like, this is where I feel like this draft is one of, if not the most important for the franchise. These 5 have to hit for me. It is D'Amico Ryans coming in with all this hype, which he himself knows, right? There wasn't a mistake that we threw this big old, parade for him and making his whole press conference about him. We are believing in D'Amico Ryans to fix this around.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I would say they all have.
Or
I
not
would
at
love for
all,
them all to
but
hit.
maybe
I think if
2
they
has
don't
to hit.
hit, the rebuild's going to get pushed back. I think there's 2 ways that it kind of has to happen. I think either that number 2 overall pick has to hit,
Mhm.
and if it doesn't hit, you got to hit on the other 4 picks because you're in some deep water if you miss on the quarterback. But realistically, I think when I'm thinking about the draft, I would like them to hit on all 5. If they hit on that quarterback and they hit on 2 more of those top 75 picks that they have right now, and I could see a trade up. They've got 12 picks right now. They don't need to make 12 picks. You and I are already talking. They could go back and get more moving from 12.
Mhm.
I'd like to see 3 to 4 day 1 starters come in the first 2 days of the draft, and at least 3 of them have staying power over the next 2 years.
No, absolutely. This was a fire mock draft. John, welcome, man. I miss you. It's always good to have you back here on the channel.
Ruben, I missed you too, man. It's good to be back.
Hey, man, you're doing great things. You're saving lives out there, doing a great job with the wire. Hey, man, I'm
Thank
now
you.
on Believe, man. You're going to have to come on with me and
I
Harley.
do. I do need to come for an episode. Um,
Absolutely.
for those of you guys who don't know, my name's John Crumpler. I do write for the Texans Wire. You can give me a follow on Twitter at John H. Crumpler, and make sure you're checking out the TexansWire.usatoday.com. That's where all my articles are, and we've got some other great writers there as well.
Yeah, and also, John, drop some mock drafts so I can continue to react to them. I love doing that. As always,
Thank
guys,
you.
keep coming back for more. Go Houston Texans. You guys have a very blessed day.